This conference will now be recorded.
So in the initial demo session, we have discussed about why performance testing and why LoadRunner tool and comparison of LoadRunner tool with other tools, and what are the different protocols available, and is coding required for performance testing, or in fact LoadRunner tool. All these things we have discussed in the initial session. In today's session, like we will discuss about performance testing and some of the terminologies of performance testing and the different types of performance testing. In any performance testing project, we have to perform multiple types of tests, right? It might include load test or endurance test or a soak test or a scalability test or a stress test kind of things. So we'll discuss all these things which are very important as part of any performance testing project, right? So uh, generally, if you consider a bank application, right? If you consider a bank application, let's assume that at 10 a.m. Some amount of, or a few people, or some amount of people are accessing the bank application at 10 a.m. Now, in performance testing terminology, all these people who are accessing the bank application, at 10 a.m., okay, are called as concurrent users, and they are simultaneously accessing the bank application, right? They might be doing some different set of activities. Like one user might be downloading a bank statement, like the second user might be transferring amount from one account to another account. The third user might be changing his password or something else, right? But all these users are accessing the bank account concurrently, right? So in performance testing terminology, these users are nothing but concurrent users, right? All these users will be logged in simultaneously. There will be n number of users who will be accessing the bank application at a time, right? So these are called concurrent users. Okay. So if you see here, it's I'm just assuming an application, something like bank application, bank website. There are some set of users like user 1, user 2, user 3, so on till user 100. All these users are accessing this bank application simultaneously. These are called concurrent users in performance testing terminology. Okay. Now, when all these users are accessing this bank application simultaneously, then as a performance tester, what are we verifying? Okay, when we are testing the application for performance using concurrent users, so what are we verifying? We are verifying the response times, right? How much time it is taking for downloading a bank statement, how much time it is taking for transferring money from one account to another account, how much time it is taking for checking the bank balance. So all these things we are verifying. We are testing the performance of all these functionalities, right? Now, is there any SLA? Like that download bank statement should be downloaded in 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 seconds? Yes. As per the industry standard, any transaction, I say, it's a transaction. Any transaction should be completed within 2 to 3 seconds. In some of the projects, it will they might accept until 5 seconds, okay, or in some rare cases it will be more, but in general industry standard it will be 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, so that is the industry standard. Now we know what is this performance testing, right? So we are testing the application's performance under some load. What do you mean by load? This set of concurrent users who are accessing the application, right? We are testing the application's performance under some load. That is called performance testing. Now it is some generic definition, okay, but uh, you have to know the textbook kind of definition as well, right? There are some terminologies which we have to know, which are part of the textbook definition. However, in any interviews, they will not ask you what is performance testing or what is the textbook definition of performance testing. No one is going to ask you. Okay, But for our reference, for our understanding purpose, what are the terms that are included in the performance testing definition, we have to know. Okay, for that reason, we will just go through this definition and the terminologies, and we will link all these terminologies to the later concepts. Okay, now if you see here, performance testing or PT in short, PT is testing an application for speed, stability, and scalability in production-like environment under virtual user load to meet non-functional requirements. So this definition looks something like, some complex words put together, you know, uh, becoming some textbook kind of definition. Okay, but if you look at this definition in three different parts, like at all these terminologies separately, like speed, stability, scalability, the production like environment, or the non-functional requirements. If you understand all these terminologies separately, then it will be easy for you to understand the definition as well, overall definition as well, right? So let's look into these terminologies separately. So what is speed, stability, and scalability? So basically, these are very important terms in respect to understanding what is performance testing, right? So what performance testing is measured using speed. Okay, the first one is speed. Speed is nothing but how fast the application responds to your request with expected load, right? How fast the application is responding to your request with expected load. In other terms, response time should be less than SLA. Response time should be less than SLA. So, and the next is stability. So, what do you mean by stability? The performance should not degrade even after using the application for a long time. Okay. So, if you are testing your application, let's say for 5 hours, okay, if you're testing the application for 5 hours, the how the application is performing in the initial 1 hour, what are the response times in the initial 1 hour, the same performance should continue throughout the 5 hours. The same performance should continue throughout the 5 hours. So we should compare the response times, in the initial 1 hour, and in the last 1 hour, like what are the response times. The performance should not degrade. Like if the response times in the first 1 hour are less than 2 seconds, and in the last 1 hour, if the response times are greater than 10 seconds or something like that, then that is not acceptable. Okay, then we have to look into it, like why the performance is degrading. Okay, and the next one is the scalability. Application scalability to handle increasing user performance using users without performance degradation. So what this terminology of scalability means, today you are testing with 100 users, tomorrow you might test with 200 users. But when you're testing with 200 users, your application performance should not degrade, right? When I say performance degradation, that means the response time should not increase. Okay. Today, if you're testing with 100 users and you are getting a response times of less than 2 or 3 seconds, and tomorrow, if you're testing with 200 users, and the response time should not be, degrade, should not degrade. It cannot be something like 5, 10, or 15 seconds or something like that. Okay, so remember these three words: speed, stability, and scalability. I will relate these three words in different types of performance testing that we'll be discussing in next few minutes. Okay, so please do remember these words: the speed, stability, and scalability. Okay, now the next definition, the next terminology in the definition is uh, the production like environment. The production like environment. So what is that production like environment is? So let's assume that you have a production environment, like you in your production environment you have this set of architecture, like the client, the web server, the load balancer, the application server, and the DB server. Okay, so whatever is your production environment, the same environment should be there in your testing environment. When I say testing environment, the performance testing environment. Why? Because whatever the performance testing we have to do, that should be similar to your production environment. Okay, then only we can tell client that, okay, I have tested your application with let's say 100 users and your application is working fine. Okay, but with all these conditions applicable, like the environment should be exactly similar to the production like environment. So for example, in your production environment, there are 2 application servers and 3 database servers. Let's assume that there are 2 application servers and 3 database servers in your production environment. And in your performance testing environment also, there should be 2 application servers and 3 database servers. Then only you can compare both. Then only I can say that your application will manage to hold this set of users in production. Okay, if the infrastructure or the environment is not same in the as production environment, then you can never confidently say to client that your application will manage this number of users, right? So whatever the production environment, the same set of environment should be there in your performance testing environment as well. So if there are 2 application servers in production environment, then there should be 2 application servers in the performance testing environment as well. If there is only one database server in the production environment, then there should be only one database server in the performance testing environment. Now, you might or you might not know the terminology is called a web server or a load server or a app server or a load or a DB server or a load balancer, something like that, right? Or you might not know what is a client and what is a web server or a server. So whatever the request or whatever the traffic that is being exchanged, between the client and server. So a client is different thing, a server is a different thing. So we will discuss all these things in our next session called server architecture. So it is very, very important session. Like for a performance tester, you have to understand the server architecture. What is a web server? What is the application server? What is database server? What are these load balancers? Okay. So all these things you have to understand. That is very important. That is the next session. So, but in today's session on a high level, I can tell you that whatever the environment is there in the production, that should be exactly same, in the performance testing environment as well. The configurations, everything in your environment. If the application server memory is 8 GB, then in your performance testing environment, the application server memory should be 8 GB as well. Then only you can compare an apple to apple, right? You cannot compare an apple to a watermelon or something like that. Okay, so an apple to apple comparison should be there in terms of configuration, right? So this is also one important concept. Okay, and then now we'll see the types of performance testing. See, generally in any performance testing project, you do these types of performance testing. So the first testing, the basic test, whatever you do in any performance testing project, the basic test you do is a load test. Okay, and then you do the endurance test or a soak test or a duration test. So it has multiple names or multiple naming conventions. Like an endurance test is also called as a soak test, or it is also called as a duration test. Okay, and then we have a scalability test, and then we have a stress test and volume test. These are some of the common things which we do. Volume test is not that common, but the most common things are load test, endurance test, and scalability test. Okay, so what is load test? As we discussed, load test ensures that the application under test is stable and can handle expected load once the application is deployed. Okay, so what does that mean is, like, if I consider the bank website application, and I have given an example that 100 people are accessing your bank application at 10 a.m. Okay, then that means that your load test, that should be your load test. Your load test should ensure that your application is performing that well under the expected load. Okay, now assume that the expected load is 500 users. Now that means that your client is saying that you should test your application with 500 users. Now, who is giving this 500 to you? Okay, performance tester. As a performance tester, you will get some number, like you will get a number like, hey, it can test this application with 100 users, or test this application with 500 users. Okay, as a performance tester, we are always ready to test it. But who is giving this number? Who is giving this number to us, 100 or 500? The client will give, or the product owner will give. But who is giving that 500 or 100 to product owner or client? Who is giving that 100 or 500 number? Like, who can tell exactly that you have to test this application with 100 users or 500 users in your load test? Okay, the client or product owner will tell us, but end of the day, they will also get this information from the historical data. From the historical data. For example, if this application is already there in production, okay, so what they will do is they will go and get the historical data. For example, this is March ending, right? Let's say it's April. Okay, now they will, let's assume they will consider the last 3 or 6 months data. They will see in the last 6 months, in which month, which day, during which time there were more number of people accessing the application. They will take that max number of users, okay, from that particular time and give it to us to test it for to test it as part of our load test. That will be our number. That will be our 100% load test. That particular number. Some of the people will use some of the tools called Google Analytics or Splunk or some database queries to fetch all these data, like during last 6 months or 1 year historical data, in which month or which day or during which time there were more number of people accessing our application. So that particular number will be counted as a load test number. Okay, that's the number given by the client or product owner for us. Okay, that is a load test. This is a basic test which we have to test it. Okay, in any application, this is a basic test. In any project, this is a basic test that we have to do. Without performing this load test, you will never go for an endurance test or a scalability test or a volume test or a stress test. Okay, so the base for all those tests is this load test. Okay, this is done for 1 hour. This particular load test will be done for 1 hour. Okay, so we'll discuss more in detail, in realistic things in our next sessions about this. Okay, so now then comes the stress test. So I can give you some example for this stress test. For example, let's say, what is this stress test all about? Let's consider the example of a restaurant. Okay, so there will be a server, and let's consider there is a server who will take orders from the customers, and he's also responsible for delivering the food. Okay, now let's assume that there are 5 tables in the restaurant. Let's assume that there are 5 tables in the restaurant, and this server is taking orders from all those 5 tables or customers in all those 5 tables, and he's delivering the food to them. Okay, now let's assume after 1 week, due to increase in number of customers, the restaurant owner has decided to add 3 more tables. Now this server, who is looking after those 5 tables orders, order taking and delivery, is also responsible for taking the order from the new 3 tables as well. Okay, he will say, okay, I can do it. He will take the order from all the 8 tables now, and they will deliver the food. Okay, now going forward, due to increase in demand again, the owner might add 2 more tables in the restaurant. Now this particular server, who is taking the order from the customers from all those tables, he will say, okay, I can take the orders from all these 10 tables. Okay, he will be able to take all those orders from 10 tables, but for some reason the delivery of the food will be delayed, because he cannot deliver the food for all the 10 tables quickly, like how we did in the for the first 5 tables. He may not be able to deliver the food as quickly as the initial 5 tables, because he has to take care of all 10 tables, right? Now the delivery time is delayed. The amount of time he's taking for delivery and order taking and everything is delayed. Okay, now still is able to deliver the food, but the only thing is the time which is taking for delivering the food is more now. Okay, it's delayed. Now let's assume again there is an increase in demand. The owner has decided to increase the number of tables from 10 to 15. Now, in this particular case, the server who is responsible for taking the food orders and delivering the food, he will say that I cannot do it. I'll not be able to deliver the food for all 15 tables. No, the max I can take is 10. I cannot take it for 15. I cannot serve the food to all the 15 tables. Okay. Now, what does that mean is the owner of the restaurant was continuously increasing the load for him. Initially they started with 5 tables, then it was 8, then it was 10, and then it was still he could manage 10 tables with some delay, but he could not manage 15 tables. Okay, but what does that mean? That means that the max he could take, the max he could take is only 10 tables. He could not take more than that. That means that is it. That is his break point, the break even point. Now, in our testing also, when I compare that the restaurant example, the server who was taking the order from from all these 10 tables, that's the max he could take. Okay, if it is more than 10, he will not be able to deliver the food for all the 15 tables in the restaurant. Okay, so in the same way, if I consider it in the performance test, stress testing, the stress test is conducted by increasing the user load gradually until the application breaks. So what we will do is, so for the load test, if we are testing with 100 users, then what we are going to do for the stress test is we will initially test with 100 users, then we will analyze the application performance. Then if everything works fine, then we will go ahead and run with 200 users or 150 users. Then if everything is still working fine, then we will continue with 300 users. We will do this process until the application breaks, until the server breaks, until the server crashes. Then at some point of time, let's say at 800 users or 1000 users, your application crashes. Then I will go and tell to my client that, hey, your application is max able to take only 1000 users. Beyond 1000 users, your application will crash. Okay, that's the max it can take. Then the client will have some idea in future that, oh, my application can take only 1000 users. Okay, why this is necessary? Why this is necessary? So let's assume Amazon big sale day or Flipkart big billion day, or in fact, if you are in US, if you have like Thanksgiving day or something like that, where on those particular days the number of people accessing the websites, the e-commerce websites, is huge. Okay, the number will be 100 times or 1000 times more than the normal days. So as an application owner, he should know like what is the max your application can take. So for those scenarios, they will do this stress testing. You got my point, right? So the objective of this test is to obtain the breaking point or saturation point. Once the breaking point is attained, there is a noticeable increase in errors, and also there is a big increase in response times. Okay, so hope you understood the concept of stress testing. Okay, and then comes the endurance or soak or duration test. So in some companies or some projects, they call it as endurance test. In some companies or in some projects, they call it as soak test. In some projects, they call it as duration test. Okay, but whatever they call it, all three are same. Okay, what is the objective of this test is? Okay, what is the objective of this test is? So they will run the test. What I told you for load test is for 1 hour. Load test is for 1 hour. Okay, and why we will do the load test? We will do the load test for testing the application performance under some load. Okay, so load test is directly related to the terminology called speed. Okay, load test is directly related to the terminology called speed. Okay, we discussed few terminologies, right? Speed, stability, and scalability. The load test is directly related to the speed. In any project, in any company, load test will be done only for 1 hour. Okay, load test will be done only for 1 hour. Now this particular endurance test will be done for minimum of 5 hours or 3 hours or 8 hours or 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or 5 days max. Okay, why we have to test our application continuously for a day or 2 days or 3 days or 5 days? Why? Because we have to ensure that whatever the response times that are coming in the first 1 hour or first day should be same in the last 1 hour or last day as well. Okay, that means your application should perform constant throughout all these, 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or 5 days. Okay, all the response time should be exact, within the SLA in all these, in all these 1, 2, 3 or 5 days. You started the test, and in the first 1 hour or in the first couple of hours, all your response times were less than 2 hours. Okay, and after 5 hours or after 8 hours, if your response times are getting degraded, like if they are something like 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, that means there is some issue. There is something called memory leak. Okay, the response time should be constant throughout the test. The main purpose of this test is to identify the performance bottlenecks like memory leaks, etc. Guys, the in performance testing, you have to know this terminology called bottlenecks. So basically, why we do performance testing is to identify the bottlenecks. Bottlenecks is nothing but to identify the issues like response times, degradations, and all those things, memory leaks, and all those things. We call it as bottleneck. We will never say I identified a issue or I identified a defect. Okay, in your interviews also they will ask you how, what are the different bottlenecks you identified or something like that. They will never ask you like what how many defects you identified or something like that. The terminology is important, the bottlenecks. Okay, the purpose of this test is to identify the performance bottlenecks like memory leaks. So I don't know how many of you are from how many of you know some coding knowledge, little bit of coding knowledge like C or Java. Okay, if you know Java, how do you declare an object? How do you declare an object? Or in fact, how you create an object? Like you will say, if you create a class employee, you'll say employee E1 equal to new employee, right? You will create an object with the term called new keyword, right? And in C language, in traditional C language, you will create some variables like int I equal to 10, or let's say long L equal to 20, or char C equal to I, something like that, right? So uh, in coding, the memory will be allocated, when we create an object or when we create some variables, right? So there is a concept called heap memory. Okay, there is a concept called heap memory. If you are not understanding this particular next couple of minutes, not an issue. Going forward, when I tell you the concepts of performance engineering, and when I explain you like what are the different bottlenecks and all, you'll clearly understand. But for today's session, just be with me for next 2 minutes. There is a concept called heap memory. Okay, and this heap memory, whenever we create an object in Java, uh, heap memory will be utilized. Or whenever we create a variables, some of the memory will be utilized in traditional language, C language or something like that. Okay, so let's assume that the heap memory of your machine or your server is 4 GB. 4 GB is your memory. If you take your laptop also, there will be some memory, RAM, right? So generally our laptops RAM will be 4 GB or 8 GB, right? Let's assume it is 4 GB. So what will happen is, when you are creating an object like in Java, okay, so with new keyword, okay, uh, with a new keyword, or we are declaring a variable int I equal to 10 or something like that, some memory will be allocated. Now this particular memory should be deallocated after utilization, after using all this code or after execution and everything. This memory should be deallocated. But for some reason, if we are not deallocating, then the memory will be continuously utilized. Okay, and after some time there will be no memory left. Then there will be no memory left. So at that point of time, you will see all those memory leak issues. Okay, for example, you have your application code. You started running your scripts, and in the backend, your application code will run. In the application code, you'll create so many objects. When you create so many objects, some memory will be utilized. Let's say in the first 1 hour of your performance test, 1 GB of memory is utilized. So what will happen? You will have remaining 3 GB. You will have remaining 3 GB. And in the next 1 hour again, 1 more GB is utilized. Then you have 2 GB. Okay. And again for the next 1 hour, 1 more GB is utilized. You have remaining 1 GB left. And in the remaining 1 hour, or in the next 1 hour, 1 more GB is utilized again. And then at that point of time, you will not have any memory at all. So why this issue occurs is the process of allocating a memory and deallocating memory should be done perfectly. Okay, in the recent Java or .NET or some of the recent technologies, the deallocation of memory is happening automatically. Okay, there's a concept called garbage collection and all, which we'll discuss in our advanced courses. Okay, at later point of time after 3 weeks or so. But on a high level, I can tell you that in the back end, when we are running the application code, there will be memory. When we'll be creating objects for which memory will be allocated. For some reason, if you're not deallocating the memory will be used up continuously, and at some point of time, you will not have any memory at all. Okay, when you don't have any memory at all, you will not be able to create any further objects, and then your application will stop responding. Okay, that is called memory leak issue. The deallocation is not happening, then there is some memory leak issue. Okay, so the purpose of testing this endurance or soak of duration test is, okay, to identify the bottlenecks, memory leak bottlenecks. Okay, so we'll discuss again all these things in detail practically as well. We'll see how we can do and achieve and all. So remember this, this is related to the term stability. In the initial thing we discussed, right? Speed, stability, and scalability. Speed is directly related to load test. Stability is directly related to endurance soak test or duration test. Okay. Now the scalability test. Now what is the scalability test is? It's very simple, guys. Today, your client is asking you to test your application with 100 users. Okay, yes, I'm gonna test my application with 100 users. At the same time, I'm going to test my application with some more additional load as well, like 150 or 200 users. Why? The reason is uh, today the requirement is your application, the number of people accessing your application might be 100 only. Okay, but in future, maybe after 6 months or after 1 year, the assumption is there will be 50% more number of users accessing my application in next 6 months. In the next 6 months, 15% more number of users might be accessing my application. Might be, that's my guess. That's my assumption. So if today you are testing your application with 100 users, in the next 6 months, your assumption is 150 people are might be accessing your application. So keeping that in mind, today only I will test with 150 users also. Why? I'm keeping your future increase in mind. I'm testing your application with increased volume. So I'm going to test your application with 100%, 150% load and 200% load as well. Okay, so if you see the definition here, testing the application for future load. The test is performed under user load considering the growth of the application under test down the years. So the current expected load is 500 users. So assuming 50% growth in the next 1 year, so the testing will be done using 750 users now itself. So that's it. So keeping future growth in mind, we are going to test our application with some more additional load. That's it. That's a scalability test. So the last different type of test is volume test. it is directly related to database. Guys, it is directly related to database. So this is very rare. Most of the projects might not do it, but the projects where there is a lot of database dependency, they will go with this test. Okay, how we will test it? How we will test this is, for suppose you have 1 lakh records in your database now. In your database, you have 1 lakh records, and your application might have 3 to 4 lakh records in your next 1 year. Your application might have 3 to 4 lakh of records in next 1 year. So keeping that in mind, I am going to insert all those 3 to 4 lakh records now itself into my database, and then I'm going to test my application and see how fast the database is responding. So if there is any delay in response times, I'm going to give those queries to developer and say, hey developer, these queries are taking too much time with these many records in database. Can you test it? Can you check it? So that's how it is. Okay, so it is similar to load test, but the only change is there will be we will be intentionally inserting more number of data into database. Okay, like 3 or 4 lakhs data at a time, and see how our database is responding. What is the performance of our database queries? If there is any degradation, we will give that query to developer and say that this query is taking too much time. So how we will be giving that query? From where you will pick that query? Using APM tools like AppDynamics or Dynatrace. I told you, right? I will be giving some couple of sessions on AppDynamics. Okay, at later point of this course, I will tell you how to pick that query, how to pick that method, and how to analyze what are the different bottlenecks. Okay, what are the details that you should share to developer in terms of performance degradation? Everything I'll explain you clearly going forward practically. Okay, so these are the 5 different tests, important tests that every performance tester should know. Day in day out, you might have to work on these different types of tests. Okay, so now you can post your questions. If you have any questions, now I can explain you all your questions, like in terms of different types of performance testing, or if you missed the initial session, if you have missed the initial demo session, the first session, you can ask all the basic things as well. Again, I can help you out in understanding the concepts. And as I said, we will be discussing the load runner course from advanced, so from basic to advanced, and at the same time we will be discussing a concepts called a tools called Jenkins, AppDynamics as well. Why? Because nowadays everything is agile. Now we should know what is Jenkins as well. Like we should know how to trigger tests and all, and we should know any one of the APM monitoring tool like AppDynamics or Dynatrace. So I'm going to explain you that AppDynamics course as well, AppDynamics sessions as well. Okay, why AppDynamics is required and everything. So basically, those were not covered in the course content, but however, I'm going to tell you those courses as well. I mean, those courses at a high level as well. Couple of sessions for those, and there will be some C language scripting as well, during this course. And what else? And there will be documentation given with respect to all the interview questions. And at the end of this course, there will be 2 sessions for interview discussion. Like what are the different questions they might ask you in interviews, along with answers we will discuss in detail. There will be 2 sessions at the end of this course. So yeah, if you have any questions with respect to today's sessions or initial demo sessions, or if you have any questions with respect to this tool or anything, you can ask me either in chat or in directly. So if there are no more questions, okay, so let's stop this session here.